I'm standing in my driveway. My life is good, but I'm questioning where I'm going, what I'm doing with my life. We call it stop, think, observe, and plan. I'm sitting strapped in my seat at the bottom of the Potomac River. I bolt awake and I panic. I know that I shouldn't breathe, but I push and paw for the surface. I try to find a point of reference with my right hand, but I can't find anything that's familiar. I'm not making any progress towards the surface. Our training comes back into my head, and I hear the voices of Soupy and Bill. Stop, think, observe, and plan, and survive. I sit back down and start over, but with my left hand. Feel my leg travel up to my waist, and I find the release. At this point, I'm free, and I push myself to the surface, to jet fuel and debris and darkness and confusion. Damn, it's cold. I'm a trauma nurse, but for myself, where's my stethoscope? I need to assess my breath sounds, and it hurts too much to scream. Standing on the tail of the helicopter, I reassess my life. So many of the things that I thought were important before the moment of impact just seem to have fallen away. It isn't the money or the cars or career that I think about, but walking through my front door, kissing my children goodnight, and sleeping in my own bed. In that moment, I choose to survive. I choose life. Now I'm standing alone at the site of the crash, and I look over the edge of the railing into the little cove. And there in the sand, there I am. I grab the rail and I hold my breath. There are goosebumps on my arms. It's the awakening. When I'm depressed, I see the man reaching for nothing. But when I'm a survivor, I see someone fighting for breath and fighting for life, and I do see myself. And now, I'm back in that place where everything seems to have been stripped away, and I'm curious as to what I will wake up to tomorrow.
One of the things I loved about being a flight nurse was that my opinion really mattered. I was listened to. That wasn't true in every area of my life. Divorce and a walk through emotional battery had shaken up a lot of the trust I had in my own voice, my own value. When I began as a flight nurse, the guy who hired me said, "One of my main goals in this job is to leave without knowing anyone who died in an on-duty crash." 16 years later, that goal for me had gone down not once, but several times. I was leaving to begin my new work as nursing faculty. I was thankful that I was leaving safely. Just 2 more weeks till my last duty day. The flight began the same way they all did, pagers beeping, phones ringing. 6 minutes from sound sleep to blades turning as we flew towards the rural site of a motor vehicle crash. To describe it as a dark night would be an understatement. The reds, blues, and yellows of emergency vehicles were the only lights guiding us to the scene. The pilot switched on the night sun, that huge searchlight on the bottom of the helicopter that would help us find our way into a landing zone. "God, they're putting us down in a hole," he commented. As was the routine, all eyes were intently focused out the windows as we descended. I was the only one who saw the brief glint of the wires just a couple of feet below the helicopter. We trained for this over and over again. It got to the point where we joked about it. It's called crew resource management, how to be heard in a situation of imminent danger, how to work as a team. We had all agreed on a code. Go around. I'd only said those words once before. That pilot had ignored me, doubted my judgment, though somehow we didn't crash. But if this pilot did the same thing, we'd all be dead in just a few seconds. Go around. That was the voice I should have used in so many other situations, with other people. The pilot did exactly what was supposed to happen next. No doubt, just trust. A complete stop in midair, and then a slow, straight-up lift out of danger.
Funny thing about scars, they always remind you of something that has happened. An adventure, an accident. They all have a story behind them. The fall while playing in the creek as a kid, another from the playground, a backcountry ski ending in surgery. Years later, a different injury, another surgery, more scars. Some are small, some are deep, and others are downright funny. But there's other scars, ones you can't see. These are the ones that change you, shape you. I climbed into the helicopter that night on a routine scene flight, loving life, my job, my career, my passion. It's surreal, really, the noise that an engine makes as it's dying, the reality of an engine chip light. No longer just fuzz on the sensor. Alone in the back, remembering the training. Hearing nothing but the strange, horrible noises above my head. The uncertainty of how this will end. Calmly preparing for the worst. Hoping for the best. The maydays, the impact. New wounds on the earth. I was trained to wait for the rotors to stop, then exit. But we're on fire. Turns out I have wounds no one can see. I ran out of that helicopter a different person. They say you've got to get back on the horse after you've been bucked off. I wish it was just that easy. Months later, I walk by those scars on the earth as I climb back in, as we fly low on short final. The grass grown back, the fence long since repaired. The scar you can't see is taking much longer to heal than the others. Years, really.
I pulled up to the drive-thru window. The cashier pointed at the logo on my shirt. We will never forget. I burst into tears. He looked mortified and handed me my green chili cheeseburger and fries. I'm working in the trauma room. A chief flight nurse grounded because I'm 8 months pregnant. I'm waiting for the patient my program is flying in when someone breaks through the back doors screaming, "I just saw a helicopter crash!" The explosion was so close, I feel it. I waddle back through the ER, point at the charge nurse. "I'm out of here. I have to go." In 2 minutes, I'm at the scene and trying to call my crews. No answer. Crap. I hope it's not my friends. I hope it's not anyone. I call my husband. He can't understand what I'm saying, that we had a crash. He thinks something is wrong with our baby. Smoke that burns my eyes, the smell of fire, people pushing past a cop who's trying to secure the scene. A good friend, a doctor from the hospital, grabs my shoulders and tries to turn me around. Jen, let's go. There's nothing you can do. I can't leave. I have to find out what's going on. Who is IC? They tell me it's not my helicopter. It's another program's. So where is mine? Where's my crew? I won't fly anymore. I'm done. I sit outside the trauma bay on a cart trying to let the ER do their thing. Honestly, I can't physically step into the room. I look at the other program's team, grieving, sobbing. I feel guilty because all my crew members were transported, but none of theirs were. I'm asked to find a chest tray. I try and I try, but I can't find it. I can't even recognize what I was looking for. I set that ER up. I knew every nook and cranny. Press conferences, NTSB, FAA, crash site visits, dealing with family, hours and hours in a waiting room, making sure crews have food, housing them at my home, listening. When things were really tough, those first 2 days, I'd go down to the ER and use the ultrasound machine on my own belly. I just wanted to hear a heartbeat. Weeks go by. Funerals, services, worldwide media attention. Our flight volumes are down. I don't even know normal anymore. I've quit my job. I've had my little girl. I want this to just be a happy time, and it can't be. Months go by. The phone rings. I know who it is and why they're calling. I answer and accept the job as chief flight nurse of the other program. When I walked in the first day, maybe no one ever said it, but I could hear it anyway. You're one of them, and they hit us. I'm still learning as I see both sides. I want us all to heal, and I will never forget.
I'll tell you when I met her. It was the public memorial service, the 5th service I had attended in as many days. I was so exhausted and had become so numb I couldn't even cry any longer. I just wanted this to all be over. After the service was over, we as family members were taken through the tunnels behind the stage so we didn't have to deal with the media. We were taken into a back room where they had food and drinks waiting for us. I asked someone, "Is that her? Is that the pilot's fiancée who was standing at the edge of the room?" "Yes," they replied, and I immediately walked over and took her hand and led her out into the hallways, away from everyone else. I needed to talk to her with no one around. I needed her to know that whatever happens from here, that I don't blame her because it was her fiancé that was the pilot, and that I took comfort in knowing that my husband didn't go alone. They were all together. We both sat there and cried. I later found out that she thought I was mad at her and was going to kick her ass because it was her fiancé that was the pilot that evening. She was partly right. I did want to kick someone's ass. I was alone. Even in the midst of so many family and friends taking care of me and my girls, I was alone. No expert showed up who could figure out what to do with the stack of papers I needed to fill out. No one was there to show me how to plan a funeral. No one was there to say, "Here is how to get the support you need." No one was there who had ever been through this before. And I was mad about that. I'm still mad about that. We see each other every month. Either she comes up or I go down. We talk on the phone every day. And on the 6-month anniversary, we held hands, slowly making our way through the tall grasses of the ditch till we were along the fence line of the field where it happened. We held hands even tighter as we made our way out onto the field to the spot where the aircraft hit. As we stood there, looking over the field, my whole body turned cold, a numbing cold unlike anything I'd ever felt. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't even move. There, strewn amongst the corn that wouldn't even grow, were parts of the helicopter that my husband was in, left laying in a field like abandoned trash. And there we sat, together, picking up the pieces.
Pleased with what I had witnessed, the safety audit had gone well. This was an organized program, manuals, policies, and procedures, all in place and well understood. I praised the clinicians, the communication specialists, the program director, and my employee, the duty pilot. They were good, and they knew they were good. During the next few days, I had returned to my office and completed a report of the safety audit I had just completed. Our company had planned our first safety congress, a unique event at the time, and preparation for this event was dominating my time. The program had just hired a new clinician, and he was working his way through the new hire training program, a comprehensive training program designed to prepare him to meet the challenges ahead, at least most of those challenges. They all knew he would be good at his job. They all knew that he would be prepared. The Safety Congress was better than planned. Over 50 participants from all over the country, each and every one pledging their commitments to focus on safety, assist us in eliminating bad practices, and promoting good. We were pleased. We had set an example for others to follow, demonstrated our dedication to safety, and confirmed the choice made by our customers to select us as their vendor. Yes, we knew we were good. We knew that our efforts would be rewarded. Our future was bright. Training complete, the new hire was assigned his first day of duty. They knew he was well prepared, ready for duty, as they say. The shift started on a beautiful, clear day, and the new clinician received his first page, the tone that announced he had made it. He was on his first transport. Everyone knew he was ready. The other crew members had been specifically selected for this moment. They were the most respected in the program. Just a few days prior, I had shook the hand of the pilot and thanked him for his professionalism. He knew he was good. He knew he was the right person for the job. Shortly after the flight began, it ended. I received the call, 2 dead, 1 survivor, no patient on board. On the plane traveling to the program, I struggled with the limited information I had received. Aircraft low level, struck wires, post-accident fire. Once on site, it all unfolded. An initiation, so to speak, a rite of passage. Maybe they thought it was team building. Once out of sight and in the country, the aircraft had descended to an altitude in which they were flying between the trees at a high rate of speed. The senior clinician turned and smiled at the new hire, confident that what they were doing was the right thing. A call for a position report from the comm center interrupted the excitement, and the aircraft returned to 1,000 feet and completed the required report. The interruption was short-lived. Once the report was complete, the pilot pushed the nose over, and the trees were soon rushing by the aircraft as it continued its charge towards eternity. The survivor stated that shortly before the impact, the senior clinician again made eye contact. This time, the the smile was replaced with fear. This experienced, highly respected, compassionate professional was the first to learn what we all should have known.
I never thought it would happen to me. We are taught to be safe, practice safety drills, and hope we never have to use them. Cold, dark, and mountainous, especially along the river. It was a single-engine aircraft and a relief pilot. We were returning with a patient on board. All 3 crew members were wearing night vision goggles. Suddenly the engine horn sounded. Cockpit went quiet, and I no longer heard the familiar sound of the A-Star's engine running. The next 30 seconds felt like an hour. Connie had been out of her belt caring for the patient. We heard, "Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. HealthNet 3 has an engine failure." I saw the cell tower at 12 o'clock. "Oh God, we're going to hit it." I looked back to Connie, reassured she was in her belt, and I Mayday dispatch. I saw the cornfield out the left window and called it to the pilot. A left bank around the tower and then right, the nose of the aircraft angled down as we gained speed and lost altitude. I saw the ground coming at us, and all I could think about was the survival training. Sit back, tighten your belt, brace, brace, brace. We bounced and skidded 20 feet. As the aircraft began to slow, it tipped towards the nose, and I saw the spinning rotors. We had survived the impact, but were going to be killed by the flying blades. They didn't hit, and we finally came to a stop. I exited the aircraft and remembered we had a patient to care for. As we walked through the ER doors, everyone was quiet. "Why are you not wet?" At the debriefing, we learned the pilot had intended to ditch in the river until we were able to point out a suitable landing zone. Night vision goggles saved our lives. A few months later, I received a package in the mail, a handmade frame containing the date and the time of those 30 seconds. A reminder that it can happen to anyone.